Good morning, India, and welcome to our Grammatica presentation today. My name is Greg Byrne, and I am the creator and managing director of Grammatica here in Perth, Western Australia. And today I hope to show you something very different, very new, innovative, and a powerful way to improve the teaching and learning of English language in your school. Before we start, let me introduce myself. I'm a trained TESOL teacher and have been since 2003. I have taught all levels from elementary to advanced, as well as exam preparation courses such as IELTS, Cambridge and FCE. And here you can see some pictures of me and my class, and I was also invited to this student's wedding back many years ago, and we met recently also at a park, recognised each other and had a chat. I'm also a curriculum creator, and I really enjoy preparing curriculum for various organisations, mainly a local Perth college that asked for an IELTS syllabus, and I wrote that 400 hours and it was approved by the government regulatory organisation, and also undergraduate courses for my local university. I'm an author, and my book 9 Planets was published 8 years ago, a moment of great delight in my life. My qualifications: I have 2 master's degrees, one in education, one in history, a Bachelor of Education, a Diploma of Teaching and a CELTA. And this is the picture of me graduating from the University of Western Australia. I'm a university teacher in the School of Education, both with undergraduate and postgraduate students. I've also spoken at conferences around the world in Perth, Brisbane, Melbourne, New Orleans twice, Philippines, Cambridge and the UK. And these are pictures of me at the Philippines conference and also in New Orleans. I'm a traveller, and I have been to India, and I spent several years of my early life there in Darjeeling when my father was a teacher, and it's a place that I hold very dear in my heart. I'm also a teacher trainer and train teachers both as Grammatica teachers and also as elementary and secondary teachers. I'm a family man, have been married for 34 years, and I have 3 children. I'm soon to be a grandfather, and one of my daughters is also a teacher. And I'm the creator of Grammatica, and you'll see more about that very, very soon. Now, how is Grammatica different to all other English language programs in the world today? Not only is the material different, but also the principles on which it is built are very different indeed. Firstly, its history. Grammatica is the result of 19 years of thinking, research, trial and error, conferences and classroom testing. It's a new lens, a new way of thinking, a new way of doing, and it's also very powerful. It has been tested for many, many years, as you can see here, with thousands of students of all ages, between 5 years old and 70, from 60 countries, including India, and all ability levels, and it works for everyone. And as you can see here, this is a student of 5 years old using Grammatica cards in her preschool classroom to write her own stories on her daily worksheets. It's based on research, and we'll see that very soon. Modern research into learning, memory, neuroscience and assessment, as also ancient wisdom and just plain common sense. It's unique. There is nothing like Grammatica in the world today. And my mission in Grammatica is to empower students as strong, knowledgeable, creative, correct makers of English forever. Now, I just spoke about the Grammatica mission to empower Indian students to become strong, knowledgeable, creative, decisive makers of their own English stories. But Grammatica is more comprehensive and wide-ranging than that, because secondly, my goal is also to empower Indian teachers to understand the English language and to become strong, knowledgeable, creative and enthusiastic teachers of English, to inspire their students, to make a difference in their students' lives, and to delight Indian students and teachers when they realise that English is much simpler than they ever thought, and to show Indian students and teachers how to use these structures in daily life, not only to memorise English rules, but to become active makers of English language both in class and in their daily lives. So what is in the Grammatica library? Firstly, it's an online library of ready-to-use video PowerPoint lessons. And all of these lessons are ready to use. They're very simple. They're highly visual, powerful, relevant for your students, and very enjoyable. Each one contains a vocabulary or grammar point, as well as the 4 macro skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. We also train your teachers for 1 month, not only in the content, but also in the classroom skills, the teaching techniques, and assessment. We align Gramatica with your national or your state curriculum, whichever one is most relevant. And it's also a complete system. So it contains the lessons, the learning materials, any downloadable materials as well, assessment devices, and even a kind of Facebook for Gramatica, so that if your students have any questions, or your teachers, they can simply go online, post their questions, and another Gramatica member or a staff member will answer them. Now, the Gramatica system is based on an annual license, and this annual license is not for general sale. You cannot simply go and purchase it. We approve of your application, so it goes out to approved schools, colleges, companies, or government departments. And it's a partnership. It's a long-term partnership. And as part of that partnership, you promote the Gramatica mission, and we also provide for you everything you need to teach English in your school in a much better way. It's exclusive, which means that we only offer a fixed number of licenses for a city, province, or country. And this means that your school can advertise this exclusive license in your marketing, because perhaps your school gains a Gramatica license and your competitor in the same town or city does not, and therefore you can advertise this. When we provide a new resource, a new lesson, a new assessment device, you of course receive this in your library free of charge. And we provide regular support for all of your teachers, so that if they have a question, they can ask via email, or we provide it on a Zoom conference or webinar. And best of all, you receive, when you renew your license for another year, we pay your school a loyalty bonus of 10,000 Australian dollars. Now let's talk about price. Firstly, this is the price of a Gramatica license for 1 year, and this contains all of the inclusions that I mentioned before. Now you may say that that's a lot of money. Actually, it's not, because your school does not pay this. Your students do, or your students' families. And this is how we calculate it. Let's say, for example, that you have 300 students in your school. So we have the total price, divide by 300, divide by 52 weeks in the year. And this works out to $2.24 per student per week, which is about the price of a cappuccino in Chennai. Now let's look at the prices that you would pay per student for schools of different populations. And this exchange rate and prices were correct as of February 10, 2022. Firstly, you can see here the school population here. Secondly, the Australian dollar figure here. Thirdly, the Indian rupee figure here. And lastly, what you would buy in Chennai for this price. Now, how does Gramatica work? Well, these are the learning principles. Firstly, we say to students, we want you to be active makers of English. So we want you to think, what new skill do I want to learn? That's the first thing. Number 2, what tools do I need to make this skill or to do this skill? Number 3, you practice a lot. And number 4, you tell your own story. So you use these skills to tell your own story and to say something that is important or relevant to you as a student. Now let's look at some examples from daily life. First of all, I need to learn a skill for my life. I need to know how to keep my teeth clean. So that's my first skill that we're using from the previous screen. I get the tools that I need, okay, a toothbrush and some toothpaste. Number 3, I learn how to use the tools. I watch someone else do it. I might watch my parents brush their teeth and I think, okay, that's how you do it. So then I practice step 4 with the tools and I use them in daily life and I brush my teeth every day. Now, if I apply this to Gramatica, I need to know how to tell a past story, as we all do. So the tool that I need is the past simple. So then I use step 3. I learn how to use the English tools. So I do a Gramatica course on telling a past simple story. And then I practice with the tools and I use them in daily life, and I tell my stories about my life and the world. Now, one of the principles that's very important that we use a lot is Bloom's taxonomy of learning, and you can research this later if you like. And it has several levels, about 6 different levels. And the bottom level is remember, and the top level is create. And quite a few students think that learning is the same as remembering. And this is called low-level thinking. We can all remember something. We may not understand it, but we certainly remember it. Gramatica does not use this as its only way of learning. Instead, we use high-level thinking of create, and this is very important in Gramatica. Now, traditional schools around the world have believed for many years certain things about the English language and how it is taught and how it is learned. Let's look at some of those things. Firstly, they believe that English is difficult. They believe it's a school subject, like mathematics or history. They explain it with technical terms and unclear concepts. They focus on grammar and in course books. They teach students how to memorize, to study, and to repeat. And as we have seen with Bloom's taxonomy, those are low-level thinking elements. They use coursebook stories and they produce good students. Now, while some of those things are good in and of themselves, Gramatica says we can do better. So we know that English is quite simple. We know it's not a subject, but a set of communication tools. We explain the differences with simple words and life concepts and ideas. We use clear, colourful pictures and diagrams because students learn up to 6 times faster with pictures and words than with words alone. We focus on students' life needs. We teach them how to think, and we empower them to be active, strong, decisive makers of English. We teach them how to create their own stories. We use their stories and we produce able, strong creators of English. So what are the teacher benefits? Number 1, we provide a common teaching language and style. So we make sure that all of your teachers have the same knowledge, the same classroom skills, and they all speak the same teaching language. We provide full training for them. So 1 month of training for all of your teachers before they start with the Gramatica program in everything they need to know. We also provide assessment tools for them. So it's not just the lessons, but after the lessons have finished, we then provide the assessment tools. Remembering that Gramatica assessment is based on what a student can create, not what a student can memorize. Now, what are the benefits for students? Firstly, Gramatica is for everybody. So all ages and all levels, from the youngest student to the oldest student. It works for everybody. Now, students receive a learning map, and I'll show this to you very soon, and they use this to record progress. Number 2, they use a very simple grammar language. So we don't use difficult terms or concepts. We use very life relevant terms and concepts, and everything is color-coded and easy to understand. Students can trust Gramatica because we never change the words or the colors. Everything is always the same. Everything is consistent throughout. Students also are active makers in a Gramatica lesson. We promote active learning because when students are active, they remember better. And also because the lessons are online, if a student is sick or absent, the student can come back and do the lesson again as many times as they need. Now this is the learning map. This is only 1 page and there are 10 pages, and each lesson is shown here with the dates. So the student can do this up to 5 different times and also add their own comments. And we make this learning map available for teachers, so the teachers can see what the students are doing and the students can see what the teacher has commented on. So it's a transparent learning conversation between teachers and students. One of the focuses of Gramatica is not necessarily to teach and learn English in a classroom, but to transfer that learning outside the class into daily life. So we teach students, we give them a set of tools that they can use to use their English in daily life outside the classroom. We also provide opportunities in class for students to enjoy their English, and it's wonderful to see their faces light up and their eyes shine when they realise that English is much more simple than they ever thought possible, and it's actually a wonderful and exciting adventure. And lastly, we help students on the journey to becoming world-ready citizens, ready for travel or work or further study or leisure. So we make sure that Gramatica provides opportunities for students to take their English outside the classroom and into life in the world in their future. Now, these are the benefits for your school. First of all, you have a competitive advantage. And this means that because we only offer Gramatica licenses to select schools, you can use that in your marketing to say, we are a Gramatica school and we have something that other schools do not have. Now, your own school culture is something that you have built up over time. We cannot change that, but we can certainly make it stronger. We train your teachers, which is something that other schools may not do or other programs may not do, but we train your teachers for 1 month before they start using the Gramatica system. And you also join a worldwide community that's growing all the time of different schools around the world, and you get free access to all Gramatica webinars and conferences, both face-to-face and online. Now, Gramatica has been used in schools in Australia, Thailand, and the USA, and these are comments from primary principals and deputy principals, and you can read these in your own time. And these are comments from primary and middle school classroom teachers, and again, you can read these in your own time. And these are comments from students, and all of these students are all students that I have taught personally, and they are all adults. And again, you can read these in your own time. Now, this is the Gramatica team for India. Firstly, you can see me there and you have my email address and my LinkedIn contact details as well. We are still to appoint a Gramatica agent in India, but when we do, we will let you know. So, if you have liked what you have seen, then we strongly recommend, first of all, that you do your own research and learn some more about Gramatica and also about me. Secondly, if you like what you see here, to set up a Zoom meeting with me to ask some questions. Bring your principal, your leadership team, your head teachers, your curriculum leaders, and ask some questions to find out more about how Gramatica can benefit your teachers, your students, and your school. Thirdly, if you like what you hear, then we can organise a sample lesson with 10 of your students for a free 15-minute Zoom lesson, and that way you can see how Gramatica works in real time, in real life, with real students. And lastly, if you like what you see there, then you can apply to become a Gramatica school. Thank you for your time and your attention, and I trust that you have learned something new about Gramatica in a different way, and a new, innovative and powerful way to improve the English language teaching and learning in your school. That concludes our presentation for today. Thank you and goodbye.